And we join the Zerg on Tarsonis. Probably my favourite introduction of all the campaigns, just because the first line is so memorable, or at least the first few lines. Zerg campaign, Overmind. The swarms have crushed the meagre human resistance and laid waste to 9 of the 13 Terran worlds. Shortly after the fall of Terran capital world Tarsonis, the main Protoss fleet abandoned the Terran sector. Now efforts continue on Tarsonis to weed out the remaining Protoss forces.
Awaken, my child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright. Know that I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm, and that you have been created to serve me. Behold that I shall set you amongst the greatest of my Cerebrists, that you might benefit from their wisdom and experience. Yet your purpose is unique. While they carry forth my will to the innumerable broods, you have but one charge entrusted to your care. For I have found a creature that may yet become the greatest of my agents. Even now, it resides within a protective chrysalis, awaiting its rebirth into the swarm. You must watch over the chrysalis and ensure that no harm comes to the creature within it. Go now, and keep safe my prize.
So, we've been created for a single purpose. We're going to protect this chrysalis. This chrysalis is the most important thing to us. Nothing is more important. I also want to point out something interesting, is that the Zerg, up until now, have been this nameless threat, and then you're introduced to the Overmind immediately. Now, the Terran have no idea that the Overmind is even a thing. They have no idea that the Swarm has this unified intelligence behind it. They have no clue right now of what the Zerg actually are, other than some weird alien race that just pops up and kills stuff. Also, after this little introduction sequence, I want to show you the original portrait for the Overmind, because in my opinion it's so much better. It's really creepy looking. And it, you know, having it on all the Zerg buildings and stuff looking at you when you click on them, it's really sort of off-putting. And there's our chrysalis. We have to protect that. So the Zerg works very differently.
Of any Zerg colony. It spontaneously generates lava, which in turn are used to spawn your various warriors and minions. Now, create a drone and start gathering resources.
So this is our tutorial for the Zerg.
Overlords provide control for your minions. As your forces grow in number, you must hatch more overlords to control them.
I like how they have all this flavor and all this stuff.
Enough minerals. Select a lava and mutate it into an overlord.
Go away, Dagoth.
To create new warrior strains, you must generate the various hive structures. The drones themselves mutate into these structures. Yet be careful. Never use your last drone to make a building.
So basically, if you haven't played Starcraft, and maybe one or two of you haven't, the three races play dramatically differently, or not dramatically differently, but fairly differently. So for example, I don't build units out of buildings, like I don't make a barracks, I build everything from the lava. And they, in turn, form the building. So we're going to make a spawning pool in a moment, just to demonstrate the concept, as part of this tutorial. So, you.
Now, order your drone to become a spawning pool. You'll notice that structures can only implant themselves upon the creep. You can make creep colonies to extend the creep, but only a hatchery can be built upon open ground.
So basically, you expand creep in StarCraft 1 by using creep colonies, and it's not that big a deal to expand it too far, like we'll probably want one over here. Creep colonies have a more important purpose, however, which is that they form defensive buildings, so spore colonies and sunken colonies. Sunken colonies work against ground units, spawn colonies work against air units. And they're actually pretty good, like, they're not useless. And the nice thing about these defensive buildings is that they don't require, like, you don't have to put 4 Zerglings into them to make them work.
Greetings, I am Saz. I too am a cerebrate of the Overmind. I have located a small band of Terrans who could threaten the Chrysalis and the Hive Cluster. You must not allow them to leave here alive.
So there's apparently survivors on Tarsonis. So we have to just take out this little Terran base. Not too big a problem. We're going to make a Hydra stand at some point, and Hydras are going to be the mainstay of our army. Now, one thing you'll notice about Zerg buildings is they're generally a good bit cheaper than their Terran equivalents, and that's because it takes into account the cost of the drone. So, for example, an extractor technically costs 100 minerals because it's 50 for the drone, and then 50 for the extractor. Hey, we have our little buildings. Oh yes, it's the StarCraft 1 noises. These are so much better than the StarCraft 2 noises for Zerg, in my opinion. I love these noises so much. So we're going to run our Zerglings around and then just tear these Marines apart. Zerg units heal over time very slowly while on creep, so they do slowly replenish. But we need to make more drones for now. We do have an Overlord on the way as well. And then we're going to build a Hydra den when we can. Hydras are definitely the mainstay of the Zerg army, although Zerglings are definitely no slouch. Zerglings are definitely pretty potent. Get used to hearing that. I feel so blind, the sight range is so short. It seems like some Terran have managed to survive. Tarsonis was, of course, overrun by the Zerg, so there's 1 or 2 minor pockets of resistance. These are going to be the mainstay of our army. Hydras are definitely the best we can do. Hydras in StarCraft 1 are a lot more durable than the StarCraft 2 sort of, I don't know, relatives. And that's because they are the mainstay of the Zerg army. They were sort of replaced by roaches, so roaches became the low-tech, sort of spammable unit. But Hydras are that role in this version. Not to say that they are that tanky, but they're not weak either. StarCraft 2 Hydras are very much glass cannons that deal a lot of damage, but have weaknesses. StarCraft 1, a little bit less damage, a little bit tankier. They also have really cool noises. That's the best reason to build anything, really, isn't it? I want missile attacks, please.
You require more minerals.
We're really slowly saturating this.
You require more minerals.
Now, also, we don't have to worry about using queens. Queens were something that Kerrigan introduced. Oh god, spoilers. But we don't have to worry about any of that sort of faffing around. We just use hatcheries, and we can build more hatcheries to just up our production. While we wait for the Hydras, we could explore out with these Zerglings now. Actually, want to get metabolic boost. Or metabolic boost. Increase the Zergling move speed. StarCraft 2 introduced that you get bonuses while on creep, like you move way faster on creep. That's not the case in this version. We'll slowly build up. We just want to wait until we can get Carapace upgrade on the go. And I think we're good for drones for now. Luckily, this also uses the StarCraft 2 rallying system for hatcheries, which is very intuitive and easy to use. And yeah, we're going to start making our first Hydras. We also need to make an Overlord. Are these one supply? Yes, they are. So this is why we're going to be relying mostly on Hydras, is because Firebats just murder the shit out of Zerglings. I love the Hydra noises. so much. As you see, they're still 80 health, but that's actually, comparatively, that feels like more. And they deal similar damage. They aren't that good against small units, but they're very good against medium and large units. But a big group of Hydras is very meaty. And let's start poking out with these guys. I forgot to set this up properly. See, let's make some lanes as well, just to help tear down these buildings. We should have an upgrade done fairly soon as well. We'll be able to build another hatchery, I think. So Hydras aren't that great against Marines. They're still pretty good. Zerglings are definitely going to be like Marines are really good at tearing down buildings for the Terran. Zerglings are really good at it for the Zerg. And Hydras fight Goliaths pretty well. This might be a bit much, so we're going to retreat. I should actually get Burrow. Let's run back here. This is the nice thing about Zerg, this is what I like about Zerg, is that you spend, basically all your production comes from these two buildings, or this one building I guess, the hatchery. So it's very easy to just macro when you're fighting. It makes that side of things very simple. And because I don't have to worry about coming back to the base and using Queen Inject, it's just very straightforward. Yeah, we should be able to tear through this now pretty quickly. Let's make a bunch of slings. Let's get them over here. And we should just be able to cut through the remainder of this. Pretty simple. That's it for the tutorial for the Zerg. So these Goliaths might give us a little bit of pause. Yeah, because Goliaths are large, we are like fighting at maximum effectiveness. We could just send Zerglings over now for the rest of this stuff. For fuck's sake. Come on back, guys. Kill that guy off. Thank you. But I'm Terran, making it difficult, slowing me down. Oh, for God's sake. You do have to be careful, when you lose creep colonies, you actually do lose the creep. Oh hey, Omega Squadron, you guys actually survive. You do lose the creep, and if you have buildings off creep, they will just slowly die. Build me 2 drones, and then build me Hydras. Thank you. And build 2 creep colonies. Sunken colonies. But this should be it now. And Zerglings deal a huge amount of damage. Okay, we've got to just kill out the rest of this stuff, I guess. I imagine there's a few more turn over this way. Hello, guys. And this should be it.
Our forces are under attack.
Egression. What if that's even actually a word? I get that it's from, you know, it's a portmanteau of egress and aggression, so it's escaping. We want to get off Tarsonis, basically.
Cerebrit. And so long as my prize remains intact, I shall remain pleased. Thus its life and yours shall be made as one. As it prospers, so shall you, for you are part of the swarm. If ever your flesh should fail, that flesh shall be made anew. That is my covenant with all Cerebrits. Now you have grown strong enough to bear the rigors of warp travel with the swarm. Thus we shall make our exit from this blasted world and secure the chrysalis within the hive cluster upon the planet Char.
Remnants of the Protoss fleet still linger within this planet's orbit. They will attempt to block our exodus at every turn.
My brood shall aid you, Cerebrit, should you require assistance.
So this is actually one of the problems with the Zerg, is that basically you're being talked to by an eyeball and then a bunch of worms. A bunch of psychic worms. Also, the Zerg should be familiar to anyone who's played Warhammer and are familiar with the Tyranids. The idea that basically the Zerg never die. Any Cerebrit that dies is basically reborn within the swarm. Their intelligence is just kept in the swarm consciousness until it can manifest again. And this is also true for all the Zerg units. The creep...
Do with my minions as you will, Cerebrit. They will serve you unquestioningly. Go now, and bring swift wrath to all who would oppose the swarm.
Basically, the creep, I believe the canonical idea is that it's a nutrient soup, but it is also just made from dead biomatter as well. So if a Zerg dies, it's just reconstituted within the creep. And then reborn as a larvae. Yeah, the larvae feeds and then just brings it back. So we can transport the chrysalis around. With our little drone fellow. And also we have these fancy hydras. These are hunter-killers. They're basically bigger, badder hydralisks. They deal a lot more damage. They're really meaty and powerful. And we have to get over here. Also, do we have a spire already? Yes, we do. Ooh, lovely. Mutalisks are going to be real important. So we're going to be basically relying on Mutalisks and Hydras for a lot of work. And Mutas are really good. Okay, so there is a photon cannon there. We're going to be able to tear that down with some Zerglings as we just build up our drones. We start off with 2 hatcheries. This is actually good design because it shows you that building more than 1 hatchery is sort of normal. And that's how you should be building. Having 3 hatch, 4 hatch is perfectly normal in Starcraft 1, I believe. And naturally you do want to use it to sort of expand out fairly quickly. But we want to get off this blasted world. Should actually just be able to tear that down with the hunter-killers. I don't want to lose the hunter-killers though. But then not using them would be stupid, so whoa! Let's get rid of these guys. So, as you can see, we just tear that shit down with these guys.